I knew at a young age that whatever I wanted out of life was going to be 100% on me. When you are no longer attached, or like nothing's ever yours forever, it allows you to be in this space of like liberation and freedom, like mentally and emotionally, where things do go wrong. But there's something that's very attractive to me about a woman that has goals she's pursuing. Like, she doesn't need a man, she wants a man.
In today's episode, we're sitting down and we're getting real. We're talking about dating, heartbreak, and everything in between. I'm joined by the incredibly thoughtful and the refreshingly real Louis Pisano. He's grounded, he's self-aware, and he keeps it all the way honest. But has he always been like that? In this conversation, we dive into his journey with love, heartbreak, and the evolution of his modern masculinity. We talk about what he's unlearning, what he values now in relationships, and how he stays so grounded in this dating world that can often feel kind of anything but grounded. And of course, we couldn't resist tackling some of the hot takes. So let's think dating timelines, red flags, green flags, and who should really be making the first move. So let's get to it. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Relationships. Louis, I'm so happy to have you on today.
Beatrice, I am excited to be on. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, you drove all the way from freaking San Diego.
San Diego, yeah.
I'm here to record.
Just to hang out with you.
Aw, thanks. I know we actually met on Threads, which is really funny.
We did.
Dude, Threads. Threads is where it's at. I
Threads
swear.
and TikTok.
Okay, I'm not really into TikTok.
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's too many platforms. There's too many freaking platforms. I can't get on all of them.
There is, but TikTok is still very much in like the organic reach stage. And from like an impact perspective, is the reach is very far, and it's a more organic and authentic content.
Yeah, which is true. I feel like Instagram, everything's so suppressed.
Yeah, so I look at it as like TikTok is to Instagram what Threads is to Twitter.
Oh yeah.
So from like the organic reach, it's a little bit on the on this early stage still.
Yeah.
So yeah, Threads. I know you saw one of my comments on Benny and Selena.
Yes, there was Benny and Selena. It was just at the time when that episode came out on Jay Shetty's podcast. And I mean, I listened to the whole thing. It was pretty freaking good. And then you were over there typing away at like, women want someone like him, but these type of guys are totally out there. You just don't want them.
You know, it's funny. The thing that got me was because I saw all these comments, and like, you know, comments are comments, right? I saw all these comments, and it was a whole bunch, mostly women, like, where's my Benny? Like this and that.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys are talking about the same stuff Benny talks about all the time.
Yeah.
It's just not until you're on a famous podcast and someone famous talks about it, excuse me, that you actually start to listen.
Yeah.
Because normal dudes talk about stuff like that all the time, but they're not rich and famous and on a famous person's podcast, so you don't resonate with it.
Totally, but my challenge is, I don't know that a lot of guys do talk about that.
True, I agree with you.
I think there's like certain pockets of men that do. I just think that that's actually more rare. And I think that's why women were like, oh my gosh. But then you have women saying, oh my God, he's not cute, he's ugly. And I was like, that's really rude. I actually don't think he's ugly. I'm like, that's so extreme.
And it's funny because
he's funky, he has his own style. He's got like his own vibe. I'm like, that isn't like ugly.
It's different, right? And it's one of those things where I said it on a post, I forget what social media was recently, but you never end up with your type. Benny was not Selena's type in terms of type. Right?
Yeah,
everyone likes to typecast. Like for me, my type has always been a tat-fitted Latina. I know that's not going to happen.
How's that gone for you?
Exactly, right? So everyone's hung up on they're not my type or they are my type.
Yeah.
There's a reason it hasn't worked out with your type. So when that surfaced and everyone's like, oh, Benny is this completely different guy, he's not Selena's type, it's like, stop going for your type. I stopped going for my type a while ago.
Yeah.
Conversations have been better, but obviously I'm still single. But at the same time, it's kind of one of those things where people are, at least in my experience, not with me personally, but people that I know, very stuck on like, I can only date this version of a person that I want. And you're missing out on like opportunity when you're so narrow-minded on kind of what you're looking for. And there is a reason why things have not worked out with your type to that point.
Yeah, and I always question that. Like when we say art type, I'm like, is it because it's familiar and so we go after what's familiar? I actually just did an episode a couple weeks ago. I just actually re-listened to it on the drive here because I was thinking of like, I want more clips from it. And we actually talk about how like we tend to date people that reflect well on us or that reflect a certain like image on us, right? So then we're finding people like, yeah, it's our type because they make me feel X or they make me look like I'm wealthy, I'm hot, I'm whatever the thing is that I'm worthy, that I'm someone important, right? And I always wonder like too, is like a two-part, like is our type usually that like it validates us in a certain way, or is it just something that's super familiar and not necessarily good for us?
Yeah, and I think it's both sides of the fence, right? And a lot of people will take this the wrong way, but I think for most people, there needs to be a physical attraction. There
100%. There has to be something
for sure. And a lot of people are only attracted to certain types, right? Of like people that they look for, like fitness people or brunettes or blondes or whatever it may be, right? So I think a lot of people get hung up on like, I can only look for this kind of person. And they get stuck looking for that kind of person where they lose sight of the other opportunities where someone might be physically a little bit different than what you're normally used to, like pursuing, but they have everything else that you want.
So then my question is, do you think attraction can grow?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I think there's a dichotomy to it. I think if you're not initially attracted to someone up front and you aren't too interested in them up front, that's very challenging. If you have a little bit of attraction, but you also think they're funny and you think they're very sweet and nice and you like their lifestyle, it can grow from that. But if there's no attraction, there's no alignment, no connection, that's when you're trying to force something that won't ever exist.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because people always say like it can grow, but I think you make a good point. Like there has to be something there
Correct.
From the beginning, like a little something. There's an interest, there's a little, and it's not always a spark. Because I actually had this debate with a friend yesterday. We were like, what's a slow burn? What does that mean? Because people are talking, I'm hearing a lot on Instagram and online.
Oh, I'm going to have fun with this one.
Okay, so this is good because we were debating it last night and we're like, what does that even mean? Like, how do you even define a slow burn, right? Are you friends for a very long time before? Are you like, I feel like it's such a vague definition. And so, yeah, I wonder, I'm like, what does that really mean? Because I think even with the slow burn, I feel like there still has to be some sort of something. You've got to be interested in some capacity. Maybe you're like, oh, their personality is really fun. Oh, they make me laugh. Like, I'm actually really surprised I'm interested in this person. They just got this really good energy about them, right? There's so many levels that make up attraction. And so, I don't know, what do you think about this idea of a slow burn? And what does that mean?
So that's the thing, right? It means something different to everyone.
Yeah.
And like for me, a slow burn is we're not jumping into like an exclusive relationship right away. Yeah. We're not out and about on social media. Like, we're not showcasing like this and that. To me, a slow burn is you're slowly getting to know each other while still like keeping it just between the two of you. But also letting things happen naturally, right? Like you don't have to slow things down just to say I need to take it slow. If is a little bit of a spark, or if there is the connection, there is the alignment, and those things are there that make it worth pursuing, go for it. There's no reason to hold back. I think so often people get so caught up in, I don't want to rush, and the difference between that and a slow burn. It's not the same thing. So, yeah, at least in my experience recently with the last girl that I actually tried dating a few months ago, she was so hung up on like this version of a slow burn, and we had two different versions. But there was so much connection and alignment, and we got along well, and great conversation. But to her, it was still not the version of slow burn that she perceived. And I was so confused, like, this doesn't make sense to me.
You're like, what?
I was very confused. Our first date was 8 hours. And
that's crazy. Okay, I have thoughts on that, but go on.
And it wasn't like, we were out and about. It's not like it was an intimate setting or anything like that, but like we got to know each other very well. But again, going back to like the slow burn, I think people use it as an excuse to say, I don't want to rush, where you don't have to rush. You can take things slow while focusing on like the one person and seeing if it does still make sense.
I agree.
I think so often people get so afraid that something can feel so right that it's scary, and they try to forcibly slow it down, where you're losing a connection opportunity there. And that can also
100%.
fall out of favor to you, where it just ends up not working out because there's miscommunication.
Yeah, because someone might be like, what are you doing? You're taking your sweet time. And I'm thinking you're not interested. Or I actually recently had this happen to me, and it's like TBD at the moment, but that's what we were like talking for a while. And then one day I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we've just been talking and talking. I don't look, I'm old. I don't got time for this. Like, in my mind, I was like, we're either like getting to know each other intentionally or we're not. And so it's funny because this came up because I'm like, is there a balance there where like, yeah, you can take things slow, but I think what I realized in that whole situation was I think women need clarity.
For sure.
And I think when you're just like, I'm getting to know somebody, but you aren't actually explicitly saying that, and you're just texting and reaching out and like a phone call here and there. And it's just kind of like, I think to women, it's like, what do you want? Like, what are you?
Yeah.
And then to them, to a guy, they're like, oh, well, I'm just taking it slow. I'm just trying to get to know you. And
what does that mean?
Exactly. And I think I came to the conclusion, I went like full circle. I debated it for like a while with some friends. I was like, what? And I came full circle and I was like, at the end of the day, I was like, I realized I didn't want something to be rushed. I wanted someone to give me clarity.
That's it.
Hey, you seem really cool. I really just want to get to know you. Can't promise anything, right? That's at the end of the day, you're not promising something. Yeah. You're simply getting to know somebody. And I think that needs to be expressed. And I'm seeing that doesn't happen often because I realized this happened to me before a couple months ago as well. And I will say, look, I'm going to be honest. I didn't probably bring up the topic very well. Like, look, I'm still learning communication.
How'd you bring it up? How'd you bring it?
We could use a little work.
We can all use a little work in that regard. But like
I know better, but sometimes in the moment, like I may have said this. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but I think with the more recent,
put it up there.
The more recent one, I said, hey, can I be honest? I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I'm not really interested in a Instagram pen pal.
I love that.
Yeah. And because we never took it off Instagram, I'm like, I'm not like 25-year-old trying to Snapchat you forever, right?
So how long did it go where you guys were messaging before he even asked for your number?
He never asked for my number.
So that's weird.
It's weird.
So to me, that's strange. Like that's a cutoff.
It was that's why I got to a point where I was like, but again, I could have handled that better. Like I was a little like, little snappy. I wasn't snappy. What's the word? I was a little.
Is he younger?
No.
Okay.
Older. My age-ish. So I don't know. I was.
So he lacks intention. So let's go into that, right? I think men have a responsibility, right?
Yeah.
We're the ones that it's our responsibility we usually typically pursue. And that's very different from chasing. We'll talk about that another time.
Agreed.
When you are properly and correctly pursuing a woman, you have to be very intentional about it.
Yeah.
And when you aren't intentional about it, you lack clarity.
Yeah.
And when you lack the clarity, a woman is confused. And that is known as the breadcrumbs guy. That is a guy.
Sometimes it's unintentional though. Like
Correct.
I don't always think guys realize that. And I wonder though, my question to you is I wonder if they set clarity or set intentions and are more clear, I wonder if to them that means it's serious. And I'm like,
delivery. It's delivery.
No, I agree. Like but I wonder if men kind of get stuck there because this is not the first time I've seen this happen.
Yeah.
It's like this now I'm seeing there's a pattern in this and I'm wondering, I'm like, is there fear in there? Is there like, well, if I say my intentions, then like, oh my God, I have to be serious. And it's like, in my mind, I'm like, simply saying you want to get to know somebody literally means nothing. It doesn't even mean you're dating. It doesn't even mean you're serious. It's simply like, you seem like someone interesting. I know nothing about you. I literally just want to get to know you.
Yeah. And I'll give an example. A couple weeks ago, this actually happened to me.
Okay.
And their delivery is everything, right? If you come in guns a-blazing, especially with someone you don't really know, and you're like, hey, Beatrice, I really want to get to know you. I would love to try to start dating you and seeing you and talking to you more regularly. That's like, well, dude, I don't even know you. Like, there's a different approach to it. I was at Stagecoach a few weeks ago, and
everyone was a Stagecoach.
And
this year,
of all people, I ran into my gym crush.
You did? Okay.
I did. I made a TikTok about this. So I ran into my gym crush. We've known each other for, I don't know, several months. We see each other in the gym here and there.
Yeah.
And I recognized her and I went up to her, said what's up to her, and then I got her number. So like I let her, I'm not going to intrude, like have fun with your friends, all this and that. So about an hour or so later, I Apple Cashed her like $50. I'm like, hey, go get a drink on me. Like, want to see you later, we'll get another. Or whatever. And she liked it. Like, it was kind of like, I tried to be a little bit smooth with it, right? Just kind of insinuating, like, right? But at the festival, like there's terrible service, like lines, bar lines are like,
oh my God, and you can't meet people. Like it's so like, once you lose your group of friends, like I'll see you at the house. Like that's basically what it's like.
So it wasn't even a matter like, hey, I gotta see you, like it wasn't anything like that. And then after Stagecoach weekend, I texted her to catch up with her maybe about a week ago.
Okay.
I texted her, I was like, hey, super random out of the blue. I'm actually really glad I got your number at Stagecoach. And then I put in parentheses, it's about time I finally got it. Like just kind of insinuating like I've wanted it for a while. And I was like, hey, no pressure whatsoever. I would love for us to get together outside the gym. If you think it might be worth it, like, let me know and I'll plan something for us. Very delicate.
Yeah.
Very like, hey, no rush. Like, if you're open to it.
Mm-hmm.
She sent back a very sweet message.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, thanks for the sweet message. Like, very nice of you. I appreciate the kind words. I do want to let you know, like, I am starting to pursue a relationship at this point in time.
Okay, great.
At the moment, but let's definitely continue to be friends. Like, obviously, we'll see each other in the gym and stuff like that. So it's super delicate, and I don't take anything personally anymore for going on 3 years now.
Okay.
I used to take things personally. I don't anymore, right?
Yeah.
But my approach to it was very delicate. Hey, let me know if you think this makes sense. Most dudes, you come and go, hey, great seeing you. I want to take you to dinner. I didn't even know the girl that much.
Yeah.
If you know somebody and you've had connections with them in the past, or if it's somebody that you've had interest in and you've known each other for a while, that's also a different approach.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I've been thinking about this for a while. Would love to have dinner with you. I think it's time we get to know each other a little bit more outside of us knowing each other for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to take you to dinner. Let me know about Friday, 7 p.m. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
That's a little bit more of a direct approach for someone you know.
Someone you know, you've been around, you maybe met a couple times, like you have some more rapport with.
Yeah. For somebody that you don't know, you can't be so direct where women will often get like, whoa, I don't know this guy, right?
It can be really off-putting. And I know that sounds like, I can imagine as a guy, it sounds very frustrating because you're like, I have no idea what to do. If I'm too forward, then she's scared. If I'm not forward enough, then she thinks I'm not interested. But there really is a delicate balance. And I think you have to use discernment on like, is this someone brand new? I don't know this person. Like, I'm not even sure I want to date them. I just like want to get to know them to see if there is anything. Or is it someone that I've had my eye on that I'm like, ooh, okay, like they'd be cute. Like maybe I do try eventually if the time,
timing and opportunity is everything. Everything.
And that's a great exchange, though. I love that she was super honest.
Super sweet.
And it doesn't have to be weird after that, right? Like you were like, cool, awesome. Like I wanted to make my intentions known. You're not interested. Totally fine. I'll see you around. Like
100%.
It makes that so easy. So that way, like, let's say, like, especially for Christians who at church, right? This happens a lot because you're with the same people. You see the people all the time. And it's like, that's such a great way to just be like, cool, it didn't work out. Like no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Moving on.
And especially men take things so personally. Men with egos, men that are ignorant and arrogant, they think like, I can get any girl I want. They get turned down once and it's like,
at the end of the world.
The end of the world. Like we hear all the time, like, oh, you're so stuck up. Like, what is it that you won't give me a chance? Like, dude, it's not you.
My favorite though, like I've seen this happen. I've had this happen to me and to friends where a guy clearly is asking you out on a date, or maybe they're asking you on a second date and you're kind of like, I wasn't really interested the first time. You send him a really nice message that's just like, hey, thank you so much. But I realize like this isn't really something I'm interested in pursuing or whatnot.
Yep.
And then the defensiveness comes out. Well, I wasn't really asking you out. I just wanted to like get to know you. Like, how could I think about if I was going to date you? Just like, it just happened to my friend a couple weeks ago. We were like, what? Like,
very
clearly
defensive.
You were asking her to coffee, whether that's a date or whatever. There was intention there to get to know her, and she wasn't interested. And it's like it became this huge defensive thing. And so it's like it doesn't need to be like that. It's simply like, cool, this person is not interested, moving on. And I think at the core of that is that we're allowing someone else to define who we are. It's giving us validation and worth, right? So if someone doesn't say yes, I'm not good enough. And I think that's a big part of it. It's like you have to have enough self-confidence in yourself to know that like I'm good regardless if this person says yes or no.
100%. You have to. I put on my TikTok video, like I posted a follow-up, like explaining kind of what happened. And the end of that was you have to be okay with the results that you're going to get.
Yeah.
And that comes with just the level of confidence that you carry. It's your level of confidence, but also your character. And those are two main things that men need to hone in on to make sure is like top tier in terms of pursuing a woman, pursuing a career, pursuing themselves, whatever it looks like. Because too often men have this egotistical mentality around like what they deserve and the entitlement where they take everything personally. And I know that because I was that way in my early 20s. And it took a lot of growing up. Life humbled me in ways that like I didn't know existed. And I learned a lesson at a young age: humble yourself before life humbles you. And life humbled me time and time again. And I learned very early on that if I wanted to kind of portray a different image than most people and actually carry myself a different way, I was going to have to start being different. And not being different like I'm so different from everyone else whatsoever.
You make different choices.
And you have to be okay with rejection. You have to be okay with redirection. And you have to understand that what's meant for you will not miss you. And that is one thing that I've been very big on going on 3 years now, where I can walk away from certain people, certain conversations, certain things very easily. Because at the end of the day, if something's not for you, there's no reason to continue to entertain it.
Yeah.
And you have to be very okay with yourself and knowing that you're not always going to get a yes. Every no is building up to the yes that you need or that you're looking for. And so many people get so offended very easily. And I think a lot of that has to do with FOMO in terms of dating today. Like the fear of missing out on the next person, or the fear of missing out on someone better, or the fear of missing out on a better opportunity. And I think that's part of the problem with dating today.
Why do you think that's so? Why do you think we're
social media
stuck in that?
Social media and dating apps. And one of the things that we talked about recently, like with dating apps, about 70-80% on dating apps are men. And it takes...
Wow, that's actually crazy.
It takes the average man about 1,000 swipes to get one solid date that can lead to something.
That's
which is disgusting to think about.
Yeah, and then women on the other hand are like overwhelmed by like they're like
hundreds of messages,
and you're like, how do I weed out like you know, if you leave it on for like a week and you go back and then you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many. What do you do with this? You know?
Yeah, and I got off dating apps. I was on Hinge. I got off in early December. I haven't been on.
Me neither. I got off I think in November.
Boom.
Let's go.
I'm not.
I signed a contract with a friend and he was like, my good friend Ralph. Ralph, shout out to you, bro. He's like made me sign this contract in January and is like, you're not going to get on the apps the entire year.
Yeah, not doing it.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing it.
I have it in my head that I'm never going back to it because it's very easy for me to build relationships in person, friendships. I can befriend a fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where I meet people at whether it's the gym, right? It's a great place to meet someone that you might be interested in.
Okay, tell me about this because I feel like a lot of people are like, you can never meet anyone at the gym.
There's a perch to it, right?
There is.
Don't be the weird, creepy fucking dude. Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to curse.
Okay.
Italian from Jersey, it happens.
Yeah. Jesus loves him, don't worry.
Yes. Sorry, gal. You can't be the dude that walks up to a girl mid-set, like, hey, I think you're really cute. Or, hey, I love your outfit. Like, that's just, dude, she's working out. Like, there's an opening, whether you're both leaving the gym together or whether you're leaving, she's coming in, she's leaving, you're coming in.
There's always a tension at the gym. Like, you see someone cute and you both be looking at each other.
For sure.
Just like, okay, nope, not happening today.
Yeah, okay, so this...
It always happens. There's like at least one or two, right? You're just like, you both acknowledge each other from afar. So there's like this like tension.
Yeah, you know. It's like...
you
it's like
totally know.
So my gym crush, right? I'll go back to her. First time I ever started talking to her, I don't even remember how long ago it was. Sometime like the end of last year. But I used to power lift and certain workouts and stuff like that. And I've been working out for almost 20 years now. So when I see people working out with poor form, like I take note of it. Like I'm very observant in the gym and wherever I'm at. So I saw this girl and she was doing like the perfect deadlift. And it was heavyweight and I was like super impressed. And I was kind of near her and I turned around and I was like, yo, dope ass lift. And like that was my way of saying like, you're a beast. Like, what's up? Not like, hey, cute outfit or hey, you look really good. It was a compliment on her lift because I saw that and I was like, damn, that's impressive. And it was an instant turn on. And in a way where it was like, okay, cool. She's even more attractive than just being cute and pretty. And then we say what's up to each other once in a while. And she's very sweet girl. So just one thing led to another. But it was timing and opportunity. Yeah. It wasn't walk up to a girl, hey, I think you're very pretty. My name's Louis. What's yours?
Yeah, it's a lot sometimes.
It's like, dude, I'm working out. Like, talk to me later.
Literally.
Some guy, like, I know this. I hate being that guy, but there's just one dude that used to go to the gym I go to right now. And every other day he was trying to talk to a different girl. And I haven't seen him in months. And it's probably because he got rejected 35 times in a week. But like there's dudes like that where their whole MO at the gym is just try to get a girl. Yeah. Which is weird.
It just reeks desperation. Like we can just sense it. We can sense when someone's like, I need to find somebody, so I'm going to reach out to everybody. Yeah. Versus just like a natural progression, you know?
I agree.
So how do you feel like guys can kind of overcome that? Like how do they know when to approach a certain way? And maybe it's not the gym, but like what's the finesse?
Well, it depends on the setting. Right? Like whether you're out at a bar, which is very common, like there's cues. Women give cues. Women want to be approached. As a woman, I'm sure you can speak to that. Women don't want to be the ones pursuing. And as a man who wants a particular woman, like I want to be the one pursuing anyway. Yeah.
But I always tell women, like, you have to invite.
Exactly.
And I think that's where, I think that's where like sometimes women miss a little bit. They'll be like, oh my God, the guy's so hot over there. And they're just like ignoring him. I'm like,
I'll tell you one at the bar.
I was like, can you the longer stare, give him a 3 to 5 second stare, like something.
Yep. I'll tell you one that I learned I've used in the past. And this isn't like go around doing this, everyone. This is like, if you see someone, you're like, wow, I need to speak to her. You're going to walk by her.
Use sparingly.
Sparingly. You're going to walk by her. And in a crowded space, like it's tight, you're going to slowly walk by her from behind, and your hands are going to kind of be on her back and like kind of, hey, excuse me, sorry. Not like push her, but like letting her know you're there, and then just do like a little glance back. And if she takes note of it and she keeps connecting with you throughout the night, it's almost an invitation. That becomes an approach.
So you break the touch barrier pretty early with a stranger. Interesting.
Yeah. But it's like, or like a hand on the on upper back or shoulder. Hey, excuse me, sorry.
And I do that all the time.
Just getting by.
Yeah, when I'm trying to like, I'm always like, hey, like I'm behind you.
But it's the eye contact.
Okay.
So
I do believe in the eye contact. It's a certain like.
It's an art.
And it's got to be just long enough that he doesn't interpret it as like, oh, she was just glancing over. Yeah. It has to be long enough that it feels intentional.
For sure.
And that's all you have to do, ladies. Like literally, I'm like, ladies, that's all you have to do. It's like a 3-second look, and maybe do a double back, like kind of like give him.
That's what it is.
You gotta
right? So
make sure he really knows that you were looking at him.
Yeah, but there's a caveat to that. You also have to give a little smile.
Oh, agreed.
If you give a look,
that part.
if you look like you want to stab me in the face,
yep, I agree.
I will never look at you ever.
The RBF is a thing,
For sure.
So I agree. It's a 3-second with a little bit of like a little smirk.
I saw a TikTok probably a couple months ago, and this girl, she's like, hey, well, my tell is like, for a guy, if I find him interested and like I know he kind of wants to approach me but he's not yet, I'll just be like with my friends and I'll just give him like a little wave, like say hello. Not like a like flirty like hey, more so like hey,
just like a little.
That's like, hey, I'm single, come talk to me, dumbass or dumb.
Yeah,
sorry,
it's okay.
But there's other ways to go about it.
Yeah.
Don't be the dude that sits in the corner of the room and just stares at a girl all night. Fellas, don't be a creep.
It does come off a little creepy.
It does. And don't be the dude like wherever, like if you're around a girl, you're just like this the whole time.
Yeah, like creepy. too cool to talk.
Yeah, it's creepy. But again, right, like when you say like finesse and art, it is an art. You have to be able to know, okay, cool, I have my eyes on this girl, like she seems very nice, like she looks very pretty, like I want to approach her. You have to just act on it, because here's 2 things are going to happen. 1, it's going to work out, you're going to get her number and you're going to talk further. 2, you're probably never going to see her ever again,
and it's great.
So what's the big deal?
You have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's at the end of it, it's like be intentional, communicate well, and like don't be attached to an outcome. For sure.
Yeah, connected to everything, attached to nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. So one of the things that like I've learned about myself the last couple of years is I can be connected very quickly and very easily to anything and anyone, but I'm not attached to anything anymore. And I was so attached to my last relationship that absolutely destroyed me, where I hung on to like what is wrong with me. And that's it, kind of like pulled that out of me, where when you are no longer attached or like nothing's ever yours forever, it allows you to be in this space of like liberation and freedom, like mentally and emotionally, where things do go wrong, things can go bad, things cannot work out sometimes, and it just helps you kind of alleviate some of what that distance and pain will look like.
Yeah, because it's not defining you. It's not, you know, you're like, I'm good regardless, and you just show up with more ease. You don't show up in relationship or even, you know, friendship or anything with this anxious, like I got to hold on to things.
Yeah.
That can be suffocating for a lot of people.
For sure.
Or it can come off desperate, or there's so many, you know, and people can feel that energy. Like you can sense when someone's like,
it's anxious attachment.
It is like and you can really sense that. So I think that's a huge one, is to be able to come in with like, no attachment to an outcome or to the person, to know like I'm good regardless.
Yeah. And one of the things that I learned about myself in my last breakup, almost 3 years now, I was an anxious attachment. Like I think there's a big difference between doing everything you can to make sure someone doesn't leave you, and then doing all the right things to keep someone to stay. And I think that goes back to like, as a man, when you pursue a woman and you approach women and you do all the right things to get her, you have to continue to do those things to keep her.
Absolutely.
And I still did a lot of those things to keep her, but I was also so focused on not messing up to make sure she didn't leave. So it was more reactive than being proactive to doing everything that I should be doing to make sure she doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes guys can lose the focus, and that becomes the anxious attachment side.
Yeah. And I think so much of it's co-building. You're building it together, and it's not It's not like I'm doing all this to keep someone. It's like I'm doing all this so this relationship is healthy.
Right.
Regardless of what ends up happening, right?
Yeah.
Do we get married or do we not get married? Is it long term or is it not? It's like I'm going to show up the healthiest I can, and I'm going to serve the best I can, but like I can't control other people, right? And that's where the anxious attachment is like we have this need to want to control other people so that we feel relieved. So our anxiety is relieved, right? And we just try to do all the things to make sure that they're not going to go anywhere.
Yep. And it's funny when you say like showing up like collectively and try to be like the best you as possible, like as a couple and individually. Towards the end of my last relationship, she kept using the phrase like, I don't want to feel like I'm changing you. And I was like, time and time again, it was, you're not changing me. I'm changing for myself. The counterpart to that is it's changing for us as well, which is good, which is what we were focused on. So there are a lot of things I was starting to do differently, and the way I was just kind of carrying the relationship differently and changing it within myself. And to me, it ended up being a cop out where it's like, she felt like she was trying to change me to someone I didn't want to be. And I hated that because it was changes that I needed to make as a person and as a man. And we're all always evolving.
Always.
So I think if you're not in a growth mindset 24/7 and you're not always trying to evolve as a person, and for me as a man, you're not progressing as much as you should be.
Yeah.
So that became a focus for me.
Yeah. So I'm curious because we see a lot of men out there, and I think women are always like, they want an evolved man. They want like a modern masculine man. And I think that term is still evolving. It's the definition of it is fluid.
Masculinity.
Masculinity, but I feel like you've got a really good head on your shoulders, and it sounds like you're really focused on developing and being the best version of yourself in every area of your life, right?
Everything.
Which I love. And so I'm curious, how did you get there? Like, what was there something in your life that happened that was like wake up call? Like, what am I doing? Or was it a slow progression?
There's been a lot, but it's been over the last 20 years.
Okay, so it's been
So, up until I was like 6 or 7, all American family, life was great. After that, everything fell apart. So fairly traumatizing childhood, adolescence years. A lot of things took place, a lot of death, drugs and alcohol involved, divorced parents, broken household. Like I lived with my grandma while my one brother lived with my dad, one brother lived with my mom. So looking back now, I've been seeing a therapist once a month now, for about a year. Before that, I was seeing her twice a month. Before that, I was seeing her 3 times a month after my breakup for a year. But what I realized was I had very severe abandonment issues growing up. And I had enough support around me, but I knew at a young age that whatever I wanted out of life was going to be 100% on me. So I told myself that as soon as I had the opportunity, I was going to control everything. Found out very quickly that you can't control anything.
Control is an illusion.
It is. There are a few things you can control. Your work ethic, how you treat people, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak to yourself and to other people.
Yeah, the way you show up, right?
The way you show up in certain things. So I got to a point, very bad drinking habits in my late teens, early 20s. Cleaned that up. And then I've been very health and fitness focused for the last 10, 12 years now. In my late 20s, or going on the last like 5, 6 years, especially with my relationship, which was mostly good, and then the fallout of that, the breakup and stuff like that. My focus when we split was I wasn't good enough as a man and as a person, as a partner. I need to correct and improve on every area of my life to show up much better for the next person. So it became intentional focus around I'm not good enough here, 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 and here. This is what I need to improve on. Not necessarily beating myself up like, oh, you're terrible at this, you're terrible at that. More so, this is what and where you're lacking. So what can I do to focus on improving that as personal development? And I took that and ran with it in a sense of where I knew I needed to change a lot of things about myself. Not only, excuse me, not only as a person, but as a man. And when I say as a man, I look at the masculinity thing and stuff like that is men have responsibilities to be the protector, to be the leader. The provider thing is kind of a gray area thing.
I think in today's society that's like always that's the up for debate apparently. Right?
Yeah, and it is what it is. Everyone has their way of looking at it. For me, no problem with it whatsoever. However, I align more with very ambitious women. Women that have their own business or they have a lifestyle that they love pursuing some of their own goals. Where, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom and we end up connecting and we end up pursuing a future, cool, all good, no problem with that.
Yeah.
but I connect well more with like-minded women who have the goal mentality.
Yeah.
And I hate using like she's a hustler. Like I don't like saying that because it's kind of like people look at it as derogatory these days. Like, oh, I need a hustler because I don't hustle hard enough. But there's something that's very attractive to me about a woman that has goals she's pursuing.
Yeah.
And that she loves doing herself. And it's almost like she doesn't need a man. She wants a man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is great because when you're with someone just because they need you, as soon as they no longer need you, they're gone. So that's also one of the things that has played into that.
Or they cling really hard to
Correct.
it, right?
Correct.
One or the other.
Correct. So that's kind of like my take on that whole like masculine thing. It's our responsibility as men to create the space, the place, and the environment that allows a woman to be in her natural feminine and also allows her to be very soft in our presence. If she runs a business or works or does whatever when she's out in the field, like she has to be like obviously her own person. But the last thing a man should allow is his woman to come home to a messed up home or household, not into a very safe space or place. That's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And I think that at the core is a masculine man that provides that and leads a woman the right way.
Yeah.
But it's also doesn't mean you control a woman. I think there's
100%.
There's a lot of men.
There's a misconception
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, a lot of men will say, she's mine, I want you to do X, Y, Z, you're my late, like you listen to me.
That's when it becomes unhealthy.
Correct.
Like that mentality is, I think, really unhealthy because it's not about control, right? And I think, especially in the Christian world, when we talk about women submitting and men serving, like even that has been so misconstrued. It's like service is a beautiful thing, and a man does do that. They lay their life down for their family, for their wife, and a woman submits to that. And it doesn't mean I submit and do only what you say. Like
Right.
the word submit has also been so tainted, but it's like, the way God created it to be, it's so beautiful. And I find it crazy because I feel like we try to get away from that model so much in society, right? And now we're seeing how getting away from that model has actually really detrimented a lot of our dating life
And
right
broken
now. And broken it. And you see broken homes and families. And I just think like, we try to know better than God, or we think we know better than God. And it's like, he designed it that way for a reason. I think we've just manipulated it to be
Correct.
a negative, bad thing.
And I think the other side of that too is there are a lot of very strong, powerful women who look at submit as a very bad thing.
Oh, 100%.
There's submitting to someone, then there's being submissive.
Yeah.
The right man who creates the right environment, because it's our responsibility to do so, will naturally allow a woman to naturally be submissive to him as his partner, spouse, wife.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're controlling, but there's a way. It's a balance. It's a dance. It is, but that's why in today's dating world, everyone's trying to look for the next best person to be that person. And it is social media and dating apps that has destroyed that. Now, it's rare, but there are distinct ways where I've seen dating apps work out. Some of my closest friends that are past clients, now friends, I'm having dinner with them tonight actually.
Good.
They met on Hinge 4 or 5 years ago. I went to their wedding 2 years ago, helped them buy a house 3 years ago, and they're happily married. Like there are success stories. But
absolutely. I have nothing against apps. I do think for sure that they work.
It's just for me, knowing who I am as a person, how easy it is for me to connect with people in real life.
Yeah. I'm the same. That's why I'd rather meet someone in person because I can kind of vibe check pretty quickly. Like, oh, I'm interested. Or like, no, online, it's like a crapshoot. I'm like, I don't know. He looks kind of cute. Like,
you can fake anything online.
You know what I mean? It feels very disingenuous, I think, for me to meet people online. And then it feels a little bit more like a job. Like, I have to get on this app. I have to look through all these matches. I have to now start all these conversations. Like, it doesn't feel natural anymore. And I think that's why for me, I got off the apps because I was like, I just want to meet people in person. I want to gauge. I love connecting. There's something about the apps that make it feel so forced.
I agree. And there's also something about the apps where people are on there just for validation.
Oh, and that too, like 100%.
And I do think at the core of it, we've all heard it before. I think it's the illusion of so many options.
Yeah, and it's totally an illusion.
You can have 100 options, but that doesn't mean you have 100 great choices.
Nope.
So I think that has put a damper on the dating world. And for me, last year, I put a lot of intentional effort and energy into actually trying to date. And it went horribly, learned a lot. Like, it's one of those things where like I don't like saying anything ever wasted time because you always learn something from any kind of lesson. But it ended up just being I don't want to use the word pointless either, but it just didn't work out. So going into this year, fully committed to not worrying about even putting too much effort in, unless it's like a very like gym crush. I was like, I will 100% put in all the intentional effort on this one.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those things where if it happens, timing and opportunity is everything.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But
I love it. Okay, well, we're going to do a little fun dating hot takes now.
Let's do it.
Because I have some funny questions.
Dating hot takes.
Dating hot takes. Well, like relationship and dating hot takes. How do you feel about, well, I guess we kind of talked about this, but how do you feel about women making the first move?
I don't mind it.
Okay.
I like making the first move.
Okay.
I just enjoy it. Because I also know that women prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very attractive to women when a man doesn't move. But if a woman makes the first move, it's been made on me before, and I've politely declined, just like I've been politely rejected. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
How do you decline?
Hey, I appreciate you reaching out. I'm very flattered. I appreciate the kind words.
Nice.
Currently, I'm not looking to date, or I'm actually not interested. I'm just not interested this time.
Yeah.
Thank you for reaching out.
Okay, nice and clean.
Very, very clean. I've had girls that I've used to be talking to in the past where we're trying to get something going and nothing came from it, who have reached back out in the future, who have, hey, maybe it's time to get together. Hey, I appreciate you reaching out. I'm no longer interested. That was, for me, it's more so about like consistency.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just no longer an interest to me, but I appreciate you reaching out.
Good. Okay.
Very, very clear cut and dry. It's not like, hey, sorry, I would never give you a chance because you dissed me 2 months ago. Like that's just be an actual human being, right? You never know what people are going through. So for dudes especially, if you're trying to connect with someone and you're just not getting it out of them, like if they do reach back out to you in the future, if you're not feeling it, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Just be very upfront. Hey,
Honest.
hey, listen, I we had a connection. We no longer do. Like I'm no longer interested. But women, approach men all you want. We love that stuff. Especially in the gym.
Especially in the gym. Ladies, you heard it here.
100%.
You see that hottie at the gym, go for it.
So it's definitely different for men. You can come up to us whenever you want.
Yes, this is true.
And I say that.
And even if you're dorky with it, I feel like sometimes it can be endearing to some guys.
Yeah, 100%. And even if you like make a joke, whatever, like for at least for me and a lot of guys that I know, you can come up, if you come up to me mid-set, like I'm in the middle of a rep and my headphones are on, I will just look very annoyed. If you come up to me where like I'm taking a water break or like, I'm kind of going to a different station, cool, I'll stop and say what's up.
Yeah.
We love that.
I know. One time I was at the gym and I actually needed help, and I was like, I gotta actually ask now.
That's the best way to do it.
That's what I thought of, because at the time I was seeing someone, so I wasn't like trying to, but there was 2 times that same day I needed help because I was in a weird spot and I was like, I can't lift it from this weird spot.
Yeah.
And I just remember the guys were like, "Oh my god, yeah!" Like they were just so like shocked that someone stopped and like even like asked them for help. So and then it made me think. I'm like, wait, this is actually a good way to do it. Like even if you don't need help, just be like, "Oh, could you get this bar for me?"
Yeah, that, and even if it's something like, you can tell like people that are consistently in the gym if you're there at the same time as them. So like they know what they're doing.
100%.
But for a girl, it's so easy to walk up to a guy and be like, "Hey, I'm trying a new workout. Like, have you done this before? Do you have any tips?"
Yeah.
Dudes will eat that up.
Yeah.
Because dudes
asking for help, they're like
in the gym, they're like, I got you.
Let me show you my
They'll take their shirt off.
Yeah, let me show you my skills.
Yeah.
Okay, top 3 red flags.
Ooh, top 3 red flags, lifestyle. 1. If you're living all week to party all weekend,
okay,
we won't align.
Yeah. Like, nope.
I don't mind going out. Concerts fun. I no longer drink. I don't have a problem with people drinking. But if every time you drink, you have to get drunk. And if you party every weekend like it's 4th of July.
Yeah, it's party lifestyle.
Not gonna line anymore. I'm 34 years old. I don't need someone who's in their early to mid 30s acting like they're 21.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Hear that.
2.
We're too old for that.
2, indecisiveness and inconsistency.
Okay.
And it kind of goes along with like being a breadcrumbs person.
Okay.
You'll dip your toes in the water, feel the temperature out, kind of be down to date, down to hang out, this and that. You disappear, then you come back a week later, like it's a turn off.
Yeah.
3, 3's tough. But social media I would put up there, like how you are on social media.
Okay.
Here's what I love about women. When women know they're attractive and don't need to showcase it to everyone. That is a huge turn on. But obviously we live in a very digital world and social media is huge. And obviously most people like to portray like a highlight reel. But if you are all out on social media, like showcasing your, entire body and how hot and attractive you are. Like, to me, it's an attention seeking thing. Now, if you're a model, you have a model page, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But social media, I think you can tell a lot about someone from social media these days.
Yeah. Interesting. I've heard this a couple times from guys. Like, I feel like that's come up multiple times.
Yeah.
They feel that way. What about a green flag that you feel like isn't talked about enough?
A green flag that isn't talked about enough.
And the opposite. So in a woman. This one's a little bit of a harder one.
It is, because like, I know green flags. Honestly, I'm gonna be this is kind of way off the reserve. Like, you would think something crazy. I just think a very kind and sweet girl.
Okay.
A huge green flag, and it goes down to like politely rejecting you, or saying hello, or just being nice in person.
Yeah.
Without even knowing you. Like that, a very kind, sweet girl, like a sweetheart. Love that. That is a huge green flag.
Okay. I love that. Now, okay, this is a controversial one, and I'm going to ask, but how do you feel about splitting bills?
Never.
Okay.
Well, depends on the bill.
I'm in splitting like the date
dinner?
bill, not like house bills or not.
Oh, dinner, never.
Like,
never.
Going on a date, do you split the bill? Do you not?
No, I'll never split it.
Okay.
Never. Especially if a first date. If you're in like the first month and just like few dates, like, bro, if you're pursuing a girl, you better be paying for those dates. She didn't ask to be asked out by you.
Okay.
It was your idea to ask her out. It's your idea to plan it. It's your idea to tell her the plans. It's your responsibility to put everything together, make it all work, make sure she's available, and then pay for it.
Love it. Okay. And now what about if a girl plans the date? Like, maybe you're like a month, 2 in.
I think that's circumstantial.
Okay. Does she pay for it? Does he pay for it?
Like, typically, like in the past, I've almost always paid for like date nights and stuff like that. And even like anywhere from like 60 to 80% of like the household bills and stuff.
Yeah.
Which again, right? There are women out there. I'll tell you something. First date I went on, this is years ago. Went out, we started at this bar, and we ordered drinks. I ran to the bathroom. I came back. She paid for the first round of drinks. Huge turn on. I was like, damn.
You liked that. Okay.
Love that.
Okay.
Now,
so it was like the secret.
Now I was pissed. I was like, don't do that the rest of the night.
Okay.
I was like, I like it. It was smooth. Don't you dare bring out your purse the rest of the night.
Yeah.
But like stuff like that is super cute, like super cool. Like, the random stuff like that. But for the most part, men should be paying for dates.
Okay.
Like, a woman should never even reach for her purse on a date, especially a first date.
Okay. And now, see, this is where this gets controversial sometimes, but some men say, like, well, I at least want her to like offer to pay, like on a first or second date.
I think that's men trying to test women.
Okay.
And I don't think that, like, that's not okay.
Because I don't do that on first date. I'm literally
shouldn't.
like, thank you.
You
Like,
shouldn't.
it's like, I don't even.
Typically, what I have done a couple of times is the bill will be paid before it even comes to the table. And
It's not that awkward.
not that it's awkward. So she understands, like, okay, he's like serious about like his approach. It's also intention, right? It's to make sure that the woman knows, like, listen, I got you. Like, don't even plan. One thing that I also don't let women do is touch a door handle.
Okay.
So I have 2 rules in my car.
Chivalry is not dead.
I have 2 rules when I'm driving. Like, I offered to pick up. You don't touch the car to open it. You don't touch the car to close it, or the door to close
Love it.
Like, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's one of those things.
Like, let me do my job.
I was predominantly raised by women.
Okay.
Strong Italian household. Other than my mom, not Italian, but at this day and age, like, I have a much different appreciation for women. And it's because predominantly my grandmother raised me the right way.
Aww.
So like, I owe a lot of like that masculine mentality to her because she like raised me correctly. And I've also seen how women have been treated very poorly. And I wouldn't want to be roped into that statistic or reputation.
Yeah.
But back to like if a girl pays her date like randomly, or if hey, let's go get lunch, like, I want to get you lunch or coffee or what, cool, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to like a dinner and you're paying for a date.
Yeah.
Like, not happening.
Okay, I like it. Because, I actually put it up for a debate, and it was really funny. I was on someone else's podcast, and for me, I was like, if the guy wants to split on the first date, like, I don't think there would be a second date. And
100%.
that was controversial. I mean, you should have seen the comments on TikTok. I was like,
no, I agree.
was thrown to the curb hard. And I mean, it didn't bother me, but because I kind of looked at some of the profiles and I was like, what? Like, somebody
stand on that business.
Oh, and I do. And I had said, I'm like, For me, it's a values thing. Like, I want someone who wants to be the provider and like, I'm an independent woman. I have my own business. I do all the things, but I don't want to do that forever. Like, I'm doing that because I have to. It's like, I have to take care of myself. But like, at some point, like, your girl's like, great. Like, you want to take care of that? Awesome.
Yeah,
like,
for
please
sure.
have the reins. But it was interesting because that got a lot of pushback on. I had said, it's a values thing at the end of the day. So to me, that tells me we're not aligned on like that. And I don't want to force someone to feel like they have to. I want someone who's willing and wants that and wants to pay and is excited to take care of and wants that role. And I think that's a big difference. It's like, I don't want to force anyone into that, but I don't want to change the way I think about something just because society is like, oh, well, we should split. I don't ever want to split a bill. Either I'm paying or you're paying. If I'm paying, I'm planning the date. I'm surprising you. I'm bringing you coffee. I'm making I'm getting that sort of stuff. I will cover that. But it's like, I don't like the idea of splitting either. I think, it's very telling to me that we're not on the same page.
And it's nitpicky too. Like I got this, so you get the next one.
Well, like, keeping score.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like that, And I also don't want to feel like, now I owe you something because you've decided to pick up the bill. Like, because I'm like, no, you wanted, like, I want someone who wants to do that. And the expectation isn't that like, oh, now you're going to pay for like the next,
It can't be like this for that. Right. So, and when it comes, again, going back to the whole masculine thing, if you are going to take your time to pursue a woman, to put a date together, to tell her that you want to take her out, just to bring her out to this 5-star fancy restaurant and put her with half of a $400 bill.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that is a loss of masculinity.
Yeah.
Which is what we deal with, at least in this country today.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, and that's where I feel for women. Like, I understand how challenging it is, like, on the women's front, which is why they're so very selective. But again, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, it's not going to change for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it is, I don't want to say, I hope to not say it's rare, but it is rare.
Sadly, it's
so sad.
It's rare.
Like, I hear the horror stories all the time, and it's like, man, and it's funny because I've seen it with women that I know where, like, they're stuck in this drawn out relationship. Is like, why do you not have a ring? Where's your ring, girl? Like, where's your ring? Like, what is going on here? And you never know the full story of what's going on and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be dealing with that.
Well, it's also we're willing to put up with too much. Like, at that point, I find that we don't know how to stand on what we want, right? And it doesn't have to be aggressive or forward. It's literally like, I want to be married, I want a family, and I want this type of relationship. If you're not able or willing to provide that, that is okay.
Yeah.
But that means I'm not a part of this anymore.
And don't waste my time.
And I'm not going to be with you 5 years and you're still, I don't know. There's not more information that you will learn about this person to make you ready to be married.
For sure.
You're either ready or you're not. And I don't think you need more than a year. And that's also probably controversial. Oh, but there's this, there's that. Sure, everyone's stories is different, but I will stand on I don't think you need more than a year to decide if this is a lifelong partner or if you're not sure.
I agree.
If you're not sure, then go in deeper. After a year, you're like, great, we need to be talking about all the things. We should go to therapy. We should see if this is actually worth. And if it's not, let each other go. Yeah. But this long, drawn out 3 to 5 year relationship, like, I think as you get older, I think is
that's the thing.
Is insane to me. Insane. I'm not trying to date you for 5 years. Are you kidding?
I agree. I think the caveat though is the age. Like, if you're starting a relationship in your early mid-20s,
yes,
it's tough,
I can understand.
You have still so much like mental growth to go through. But if you're in your late 20s through early to mid-30s, as for a man, I'll know within probably the first couple of dates whether I want to pursue this. Like, okay, I want this to be a relationship, and I'll know within 3 to 6 months if like this is real. I can spend the rest of my life with you. Yeah. I'm at that point in my life where I can be with a woman exclusively for 3 months and I'll be like, yeah, she's the one. Yeah. Or like, yeah, I got to find something else.
Yeah. Or it's something like, I see this being long term now. I really got to like hone in on it. Is it really? Yeah. I think that's a great timeline. I think it's like you date a couple, like maybe early couple months, you decide if it's a relationship, great. Now you're in a relationship. Now it's like, okay, but is this like long-term relationship? 3 to 6 months from that point. At that point, you're like, okay, is this someone I want to spend my life with? Like, where are we at, Yeah. And I think having those markers isn't to like speed things along. I think it's to make sure you're being intentional. Am I asking the right questions? Am I getting to really know what they want in life? Do I, are they really a good match? And I think that's where people, they don't have the hard conversations. Like, I start to find out, like, you're dating a year and you're unsure. You start to dig in why. No one's having the hard conversations. No one's asking anything about future, how many kids they want, where do they want to live, what future do they want to build, what's their view on marriage. Like, it's like, what are your values? Like, I'm like, you've been together a year and you haven't talked about any of this?
And this is like the first date I went on back in February that I told you about was 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
We leading up to that first date for 2 weeks, we weren't texting all day every day.
Mm-hmm.
We were texting in the morning and the evening, having phone calls here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Very in-depth, intentional, intellectual conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So we built a connection very quickly. And it wasn't like, oh, we talked about like kids and future and values and faith and stuff like that. But we also kept it light. But it was a very in-depth conversation. And our first date, she asked me like, how long do you think a man should know if like he wants to really have a real relationship with someone? I said, you can't ask that based on like all men because all men are different. I was like, for me, within 1 to 3 months max, I know like I want this exclusively just me and you. Like this is long term. And then I was like, probably within 6 months to no more than a year, I know I want to marry you.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot to get there though. Like you can't expect a mid to late 20-year-old man to be there because of predominantly the lifestyles for that age group.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the last 3 years of my life has been all intentional focus on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've tried to date here and there. Like I've had a couple of things going on, but nothing where it's like I'm pursuing this relationship.
Yeah.
So 99% of the last almost 3 years has just been all about me, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial health, and where my future is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think a lot of people should start there.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to call it a problem. It's most people don't know where to start. But it also took a traumatizing experience for me to go through to understand like I really need to recreate myself as a person and a man.
Yeah.
And focus more intentional on the things that I need to improve on to get to a point where I am today.
Yeah. And it's usually breakups that do that.
Yeah.
I feel like breakups will always kind of wake you up. Yeah. And be like, oh, dang, like maybe it is on me too. I think we can self-reflect after a breakup, regardless of maybe it ended because of them or whatever. Like you're still part of that relationship. And, you know, I feel similar to you. Like I had one breakup where I was like, why was I holding on for dear life? Like we weren't even a good match.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like devastated after. And it made me realize like I was holding on out of anxiety. It wasn't because I thought they were a good, you know, match or partner. And, you know, and that shifted everything for me too. So it's always interesting. Like I feel like breakups are where you have the potential to grow the most after a breakup, is to and to look internally, right? Not just to move on to the next relationship. And that's why I tell people, as much as you've moved on from that person, I'm like, you just have to give yourself time in between relationships because there's so many lessons that you'll miss if you don't.
For sure, and it's people that are codependent that end up right in another relationship.
Yeah,
whether you're the one that left someone and you already moved on before the breakup.
Yeah,
you still didn't give yourself the amount of time needed, and it just shows codependency.
Yeah, I agree.
That's in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, I have a fun one to finish us off.
All right.
Maybe a couple. We'll see. So, what reality dating show would you absolutely crush?
Oh man, dating show.
Do you watch any of them?
I used to. So, funny story. When I was between 21 and 22, I auditioned for MTV's The Real World 4 times.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
4 times. The 4th time I made it to the top 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That season was in St. Thomas. I was so pissed. That would have been cool. But dating, I don't know. Maybe I don't like the blind dating stuff.
Like Love is Blind?
Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe I used to like Are You the One? I applied for that once.
Oh, really?
I'd never auditioned though. But in recent years, my clients that I'm actually seeing tonight that I'm friends with,
fun.
They submitted me to The Bachelor.
Really?
So,
how fun.
I don't know, maybe something like that, but you would never catch me on TV, reality dating TV show.
You would never actually do it if you got picked?
No, never.
Funny.
Never.
Okay, last one before we end. What's your biggest ick? Not only a red flag, but an ick.
Biggest ick.
Because I know we all have them. Like, look, let's be real. We try to be all like, you know, I'm mature and healthy, but there's always that one little thing.
So I'm going to tie it back to what one of my red flags is. And again, right, like I don't look to like nitpick at like a person's actions or how they are. It's kind of like how they carry themselves.
Okay.
So it really comes down to indecisiveness, but in a more detailed way is being the breadcrumb person. Like if you're leading someone to like think you're interested and you disappear for a few days and then you come back and you disappear, that is the biggest turnoff in the world. Like it's very easy for me to walk away from people. Mm-hmm. All it takes is like the first sign of indecisiveness, I'm gone. I don't need to deal with someone who doesn't know what they want in their 30s.
Yeah.
Like grow up.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Dang.
That's it.
Okay. I love it. Well, thank you so much. This was such a fun conversation. Thanks for coming. And we're driving all the way down here. I appreciate it. Or up here. Up here. I always forget. I'm coming down. You're coming up.
Do this like once a quarter.
This would be so fun. Yeah. I would love it. Catch up on dating lives and see how things are going.
No, I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to see where you take the show, and I'm excited for your journey. And this is fun.
Thank you.
Glad I made the drive.
Yeah, and we'll definitely add we didn't really get into your background. We just got right into the conversation.
It's all good. My background doesn't matter.
You know, real estate. If you need a home in San Diego, right?
I got you.
Louis has got you. So we'll put your little credits down there just for anyone interested in getting in touch. But thanks for coming on.
For sure. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it.